Hello everyone. Thank you for dropping in to this episode of Tools and Tanks. I'm actually going to switch it up a little bit. Instead of a home improvement project, I'm actually going to talk about my AR-15 build. I'm going to switch it up a little bit because I'm actually preparing for a 3-gun competition next year. And quite frankly, I just like tools. I just like to build stuff. I like to work on stuff. So this is just another project that I have, and I'm still using tools. So anyway, I got this today. I actually got a CMC 2.5 pound competition trigger that I'm going to use tools to install this into my AR-15 build. I'm going to spare you the drama of watching me unbox this. I don't know why people include that in their videos. It's not like it's a Cracker Jack box to where somebody's going to say, oh, I got a 2-cent ring in my Cracker Jack box. So anyway, I'm going to spare you that drama, and then I'm going to come right back. So we're back. Now that I spared you the thrill of the unboxing, no magic ring, I'm going to tell you what tools you're going to need before you start. So one thing they do is they send you 2 Torx. These are not Allen wrenches, but Torx wrenches. So they have 2 of those. They have 2 pins, and then they have 4 screws that you're going to use to tighten this trigger down. One thing that you're going to need is, because there's grease, as you can see, there's grease on all these parts. You're going to have to get some denatured alcohol and a couple pads, and then just rub down and wipe down these pins and these screws because you want to get the grease and stuff off of it and the oil off of it. And then you'll just let that sit, and then you're going to need a punch, and you're going to need some Loctite to be able to put on the screws when you actually put them in. So anyway, I'm going to start this process, and I'll move the camera around so you can see, what everything looks like here on the table. And then also, I'm going to show you how to break this thing down to get to the actual trigger, or the current trigger that's in there, to be able to pull that out. It's a fairly easy removal and install, but it's always good to kind of see it visually versus me having to just walk you through it verbally. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to, before we start the installation, obviously we want to make sure that the weapon is clear. Rifle for civilians, weapon for military folks. You know what I mean. So anyway, we're going to just pull the charging handle back, lock that in. As you can see, no ammo, right? And then we're just going to let that fly back forward. We're going to fire, and we're going to take this thing apart. So we're going to take this pin here, boom, that pops open there. And then we're going to remove this pin up front, if I can, push it out with my finger. And we're going to pull this pin all the way through. And we're going to separate the upper from the lower. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the lower over here to the side. Why? Because I don't need it. And we're just going to sit that over there. So I'm going to bring this around here. So there's actually 2 pins here. One here and one here. One is for the hammer, one is for the trigger, right? And this can get a little bit tricky, but not really, right? So what we're going to do is, because this is on a tension, we're going to leave this hammer in this particular position, and then we're going to take our punch, wherever it is, and then we're just going to punch this thing slightly through, and I'm going to just tap it out. And as you can see, hopefully you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. See that? It's coming out. And we're just going to hold that there. And that pin just pops right out. And there goes our hammer, right? So the next piece is going to be the pin for the actual trigger. And that has a pin as well. Because this thing is on tension, they suggest that you wear eye protection. My eyes are big enough, so they're going to get hit anyway, so it doesn't matter. So, but please wear safety gear, safety glasses. But anyway, I'm going to punch this out as well. I'm just going to start it, and then I'm going to, well, it just comes out right here. I don't have to tap it. And again, because it's on pressure, boom, pops right out. And here goes my trigger, I think. There we go. And it just pops right out. So here's my old trigger, old hammer. And now I get to put this in, which I'm excited about. And again, you actually get here in the package, you actually get, let me bring this in frame, you actually get 2 pins and 4 screws and then 2 Torx wrenches. So now that we have our pins and our screws all cleaned up with denatured alcohol, again, you can just see the oil and stuff that they put on the parts here. But so we want to clean that oil off, and then what we're going to do is we're going to actually place this hammer back in this particular position, and then we're actually going to drop this in. If we can, because that's why they call it a drop-in, right? And of course, the issue here is that this particular piece here butts up against the safety. So there's a couple things that you can do to remedy this. One is you can actually flip your handle over here and then open this up, and then there's a screw down in the bottom of this. You can drop this handle down, and then that will free up that'll loosen up the actual safety so that you can wiggle this thing out. Because I ran into an issue with trying to install this particular trigger, it's a drop-in, but there's an issue inside to where there's a, as you can see, this looks clean too. It's like I never even shot it. But anyway, this actually, the trigger, this part here on the trigger actually hits up against the safety. So what I had to do was I had to pull this little plastic piece off of the bottom of the handle, and there's a screw in the bottom in here. Hopefully you can see that. And because we had plenty of tools at Tools and Tanks, I was able to grab a flathead screwdriver, unloosen the screw, and it exposes a spring here, right? Hopefully you can see there's a spring right here. And it butts up against, and it creates tension on this particular lever, the safety. So I was able to relieve that tension and pressure off the safety. And then now I can actually pull the safety out here. So now I can actually drop this in because it's a drop-in, right? And then, yeah, you can actually see it's sticking up right here, and we won't make sure that doesn't fall out. But you can see right here, there's a little, that's part of the spring here. So we're gonna flip this back around, make sure we don't mess anything up. And then we're going to insert the safety back into the rifle. And then we're just going to depress this spring. Boom. Wow, look at it. And you can feel that it's back safe, fire, back in place. And we're actually going to tighten this screw back, because I don't want that to fly anywhere. And we're going to tighten this handle back down. And making sure we hold our trigger so it doesn't fall out, which it shouldn't. And there you go. And now we get to do a couple things. One, we get to slide. You know, you can see that the holes match. I can see right through here and see that the holes actually match in the trigger, right? I want to make sure that I don't want to depress this trigger right now, because this is even not even in place, right? So I'm going to stick these pins in, right? And I've already cleaned them up. And they are lining up, and I can just push those through. So you may see other videos with talking about trigger installation, saying that you should go, think about, going to a gunsmith. I am a gunsmith. I'm just joking. But this is a fairly easy installation. I didn't feel I needed to go to a gunsmith for this. So anyway, and then, so we've got the pins in, and now we're just going to put a little bit of Loctite on the ends of each screw, and then we're just going to tighten them and snug them down. So now that I have the trigger in, now I'm going to add a little bit of Loctite on the tip of these screws. I'm just going to hold that with my nail. Oh, that was a lot. Okay, never mind. Just because these screws are so small, I like to just put a little bit of Loctite in the hole itself, just because it's just kind of hard to keep it on the tip of the screw. And then I just go back in and just wipe off the excess. And I've got that one in. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. And then we're going to snug those down. So now we have our trigger installed. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this on safe and test it. Look at that. It's on safe, all right? And then we're going to put it on fire. And we're going to ride this and hold this so it doesn't slam up against here. But boom, there you go. And as you can see, I wasn't expecting that, because it's a 2-pound, a 2.5 pound trigger. So again, we'll reset that. It's very light. So now that we put this back together, as you can see, we have our trigger on safe, right? We're gonna move the bolt to the front. Again, safe. Fire. Boom. That's it. That's a very light pull on a 2.5. So thank you for tuning in to Tools and Tanks, and we'll look forward to seeing you in our next episode.